Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes EY's Janet Truncale, Project Everest survivor with a mountain to climb. The greedflation question, what have we learnt? Elena Boscana scores 15 points, number 6 Stanford dominant again in 86-32 blowout of Cal Poly. The UK school building local knowledge of watchmaking. 2 calories Poly students arrested for allegedly having cache of weapons, ammunition on campus. EY's Janet Truncale, Project Everest survivor with a mountain to climb. Financial Times. The greedflation question, what have we learnt? Financial Times. The debate over whether corporate power contributed to inflation during the pandemic has cooled, with evidence showing mixed results. While some argue that supply chain bottlenecks and rising costs were the main drivers of inflation, others suggest that corporate power played a role in embedding inflation. However, studies have found that markups and profits have been inconsistent and do not necessarily correlate with price increases. While some evidence suggests that powerful companies were able to raise prices more easily during the pandemic, further research is needed to determine the extent of corporate power's impact on inflation. Elena Boscana scores 15 points, number 6 Stanford dominant again in 86-32 blowout of Cal Poly. Associated Press. Number 6 Stanford defeated Cal Poly 86-32 in a blowout victory. Elena Boscana led the Cardinal with 15 points and 7 rebounds, while Kiki Iriafan contributed 13 points and 4 rebounds. Jania Hariel scored 14 points, including 4 three-pointers. Stanford dominated the game from the beginning and led by 56 points at one point. The win extends Stanford's winning streak over Cal Poly to 9 games. Cal Poly struggled offensively, shooting just 22.7% from the field. Stanford showcased its depth, with 10 players scoring at least 2 points. The Cardinal will face Duke in their next game, while Cal Poly will play Seattle University. The UK school building local knowledge of watchmaking. Financial Times. The UK is facing a shortage of watchmakers, with the British School of Watchmaking, BSOW, estimating that the industry needs an additional 2,500 to 3,000 staff. The Greater Manchester-based school, the only one of its kind in the UK to offer courses certified by the Watchmakers of Switzerland Training and Educational Programme, has called for more watchmakers to service the UK's growing luxury watch market. The Swiss Watch Industry Federation reported that Swiss watch exports were worth $27.8 billion in 2022, an 11.4% increase on 2021 and 28% higher than 2016. The BSOW, which has 35 sponsors and has been a registered charity since 2019, trains 8 graduates a year and recently moved to larger premises in Stockport. The one-year 1,800-hour course is the most popular, with the school planning to add another. The school is also planning to offer a polishing course next year and has invested £200,000 in equipment to teach this specialism. 2 calories Poly students arrested for allegedly having cache of weapons, ammunition on campus. Yahoo! 2 Cal Poly students have been arrested after being found in possession of 2 guns, ammunition and other weapons on campus. Charles Hodgeboom and Brandon Pham were arrested on September 17 on suspicion of violations of California weapons laws after campus officers on patrol heard gunshots in the Poly Canyon Village area. I was so stressed I was going to cry. Technical problems hit VCE exam that had already been leaked. ABC. A Chinese language exam for Victorian Certificate of Education, VCE, students in Australia has been hit by a technical problem, adding to a series of issues with this year's tests. The latest problems have prompted 2 petitions calling for transparency and fairness. Last week, at least 6 Chinese second language advanced students were given papers for the Chinese as a second language exam, which was far easier. The students were then asked to sign a confidentiality agreement, but some details about the exam leaked on social media. Climate change in Texas science textbooks causes divisions on state's education board. Associated Press. The Texas State Board of Education is to vote on whether to approve science textbooks that address climate change. Some Republican education officials have criticized the books for being overly negative towards fossil fuels in a state that is America's biggest oil and gas producer. Texas is home to over 1,000 school districts, none of which are obliged to use textbooks approved by the board, but the endorsements do carry weight. The board is dominated by conservatives, who in 2011 required that students be taught the strengths and weaknesses of scientific theories, including evolution. Universities slam ridiculous proposal to cap foreign students. The Guardian. Dutch universities have criticized one of the leading candidates in next week's general election for suggesting the country has too many international students studying in English. Peter Omtzigt, a popular MP whose new social contract party is polling strongly, said that the country could face a labor shortage within 5 years if so many students at Dutch universities gained their qualifications in English before returning home. Omtzigt's party proposes capping annual migration to the Netherlands at 50,000, a figure that would include students. The Netherlands Association of Universities said that the Dutch economy needed high-level English speakers. You probably know 611 people. Here's how we know. Wall Street Journal. Tyler McCormick, a professor at the University of Washington, has developed a statistical technique to estimate the number of people an individual knows. His technique involves asking respondents how many people they know with common names, such as Michael or Stephanie. By using this information, McCormick can estimate the size of an individual's social network and apply it to estimate hard-to-reach populations, such as the homeless. This technique has also been used to estimate the number of sex workers, drug users at risk of HIV, and religious identification. However, the technique has limitations, as the accuracy of respondents' answers cannot be verified. Congrats, your house made you rich. Now sell it. Wall Street Journal. Baby boomers in the U.S. could benefit from selling their homes as prices rise sharply, due to factors including downsizing after children have left and the lack of available properties on the market. However, if many boomers sell at the same time in the future, this could push down prices. Before the pandemic, the larger homes that many boomers owned were underperforming in terms of price growth and sales compared with other types of homes. The shift came as demand for homes, particularly in the suburbs, rose due to low mortgage rates and a newfound desire for living space among younger generations. Oregon's new bar exam alternative is the first of its kind. Washington Post. Oregon has become the first state in the U.S. to allow law school students to bypass the bar exam by completing an apprenticeship. The move is expected to lead to a nationwide shift in how lawyers are licensed. Other states, including California, Utah, and Washington, are considering similar experience-based options. Critics have said that the bar exam is not a realistic reflection of what it is like to practice law and that its claims to measure minimum competence are dubious. The exam has also produced scores with racial disparities for decades, causing concerns about a lack of diversity in the legal field. The Oregon Apprenticeship Program requires a person who attended an American Bar Association accredited law school to complete 675 hours of law practice under the supervision of a lawyer. Documents are then submitted to the Oregon Board of Bar Examiners, which will grade the portfolio to assess whether an individual has met the bar. Bengals QB Joe Burrow forced out of loss to Ravens with sprained wrist. The Toronto Star. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow has sprained his wrist and may be out for a while, according to Bengals coach Zach Taylor. Burrow left the game against the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night after throwing a touchdown pass to Joe Mixon. Backup quarterback Jake Browning replaced him for the remainder of the game. The Bengals are already in last place and need to win games to have a chance at reaching the postseason for the third year in a row. No-brainer, Alberta panel hears callers urge split from Canada pension plan. The Globe and Mail. Several callers during a panel hearing on whether Alberta should leave the Canada Pension Plan, CPP, told the panel it was time to embrace a no-brainer provincial program. 3 callers asked why the province wanted to leave CPP. The panel is set to advise Premier Danielle Smith in the spring on what Albertans think of an Alberta standalone plan, and based on that advice, Smith will decide whether to take the issue to a referendum. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.